Allah Ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We have with us Sheikh Asim bin Luqman al-Hakim. We just saw the report, Sheikh Asim, by Dr. Ihab Samaha regarding the complications of reproduction and how to deal with them. If you could elaborate for the Islamic issue on reproduction or having children and how this relates to Islam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. First of all, we have to understand that whatever state a person is in, it's because Allah Azza wa Jal's judgment for him was for the best. Yet this does not mean that we should not strive and do our best to change it within the boundaries of Islamic laws. Allah the Almighty tells us in the Quran, to Allah belongs the kingdom of the heavens and the earth. He creates what He wills, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He bestows female offspring upon whom He wills, and bestows male offsprings upon whom He wills. Or He bestows both males and females, and He renders barren whom He wills. Verily, He is the all-knower and is able to do all things. So, it is up to Allah Azza wa Jal whether to grant and bestow children to people or not. Having said that, Islam encourages reproduction. Islam encourages life. And we are instructed in Islam to marry a woman who is fertile and who is able to reproduce, because this is the essence of marriage. As the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, marry the one who is loving and fertile, for I will feel proud of your large numbers before the other prophets on the day of judgment. So this is part of Islam, that we marry someone who's fertile and is capable of reproduction. And one would ask, how would we know that if she is fertile or not? Well, this can happen by two means. The first one is that we know that she comes from a family that has no problem in this field. So her mother, her sisters, all have children and they have no problem in reproduction. The second way, or the second means, is that this woman was widowed or divorced and she already had children. So then now we know that she is capable of reproducing.
We were just discussing the issue of reproduction and the benefit of marrying a woman who can have children and can bear children, and the doctor, Barakallahu Fi, was talking about the issue of some people who have trouble with this into different categories. Could you please expand upon what those categories are?
Well, the scholars have gathered in the Islamic Council of Fiqh, which is part of the Muslim League organization. And they came up with a number of categories. And these categories they've reached after consulting physicians and doctors, and they deliberated a lot on these issues, and they came with a number of types. So they say that the first one is when the fertilization is taking place between a sperm and an egg from a woman that is not the wife. So they take the sperm of the husband and an egg from another woman, a donating woman, and then they take the embryo and they plant it in the womb of the wife.
Okay.
This is the first way of doing it. The second way of doing it, that the sperm of a man who's not the husband is taken to the egg of a wife, and then they would take the embryo and plant it in the womb of the wife. And similarly, this is done widely in the West where they have what's known as sperm banks.
Yes.
So if the man is unable to produce his own sperms, they just go and take it from anyone.
Any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Anyone.
Yeah.
And then they would do this. The third procedure is that they would have the sperm of the husband, the egg of the wife, and cultivate it, and then take it to a surrogate mother and plant it in the womb of a woman.
So now the child of two individuals is being born in another individual.
Yes. The fourth, and this leads us to hiring the wombs and having women, surrogate mothers, doing this for money. And this is a big trade in the West, and we've heard and read a lot of the stories where the woman, at the end of the day, changes her mind and says, no, I'm going to keep the baby. I conceived it for 9 months, now I don't want to give it away. And the parents are saying that this is ours. It's our DNA features in it. It's the man's sperm and the woman's, the wife's eggs. The fifth one, or the fourth one, is when this is done in the wife's womb, but with the sperm and the egg of two different people who are not related to the spouse.
Okay.
The fifth type is when the two husbands, the two spouses, the man's sperm and his wife's egg are cultivated, but then planted in his second wife's womb.
Okay.
So it is the husband's sperms, but it is not the wife's egg. It's the second wife, the co-wife's egg.
It's the second wife's egg or the second wife's womb?
He has two wives.
Okay.
One of them does not conceive. So he takes the egg from his first wife, and then he puts the embryo in the second wife's, so that she would conceive and bear children. And the sixth and the seventh are permissible, but all what was mentioned above was not, or is not, permissible, because the origin of the sperm and the egg must come from the man and the wife. And the person conceiving this embryo is, or should be, the wife herself, not the co-wife, not a surrogate mother, not anyone else. Now they have a sixth and seventh procedure that they say this is permissible, and that is that the sperm is taken from the husband, the egg is taken from the wife, and it's being cultivated externally, and then the embryo is planted in the wife's womb.
So basically it's taken care of in an outside environment and then planted in the same wife's womb.
That's true, because it could not have grown there.
Okay.
The seventh one is that they take the sperm of the husband and it is carefully injected into the wife, and by this, because this is done when the husband is unable to have normal intercourse or is unable to deliver his sperms to the right location, and this is also permissible.
And this is probably the closest to the natural way.
Yes.
Barakallahu feekum.